Roles are the primary content type in Red Dead Online, and they serve as the meat and potatoes of the entire experience. And by choosing the correct role, you can make enough money to buy everything in the game and still have plenty of cash left over in the rare event that you'll need it in the future. And roles also offer a means of progression, and you get the sense that you're achieving something new every day that you log into Red Dead Online as you climb through the ranks and unlock new skills or items that can be used in free roam. A few years ago, I did a video ranking the best roles in the game based entirely on votes from my community, and today's video is going to be slightly different to that because this time I'll be doing the rankings based on my personal opinion here. As I give my thoughts on each role, I'll take into account the gameplay, the quality of the unlockable items as you progress through the role ranks, and how good the role is at generating money. If you're a newcomer or someone who's still in the early days of their Red Dead Online career, you might want to stick around until the end because I'll also give you my thoughts on which role that you should unlock first and the sequence in which you should unlock all the roles for maximum efficiency. So with all that said, let's get started. Starting off at number 5, the first role on my list here, and also the least entertaining one in my opinion, is the Naturalist. And the reason I think it's not as fun as the other 4 roles is because of the core gameplay loop, in which you spend the most of your time running around the map trying to sedate wild animals for samples. However, the Naturalist is by no means a bad role. In fact, I don't think any of the 5 roles in this game are objectively bad. They just have different utilities and strengths and serve different purposes. And so in the case of the Naturalist role, I think it serves as an excellent support for the trader role because you can get loads of materials by tracking and killing legendary animals. Just to give you an example here, a regular 3-star panther carcass is worth 14 materials when you hand it over to Crips. But if you snag an I walked a panther during one of Harriet's legendary animal sighting missions, it's going to be worth a whopping 43.13 materials for the pelt of that animal. Unfortunately, with legendary animals from sighting missions, you can't actually donate the entire carcass because you have to skin the animal to end the mission, even though they have value, but nonetheless, it is how it is. Despite this, the pelt alone is worth 3 to 5 times more than what you get from a comparable regular animal in the free roam. And the best part here is that mission-specific legendary animals have a 100% spawn rate. So all you have to do is select the sighting mission from Harriet, load into the search zone, and start looking at clues. It usually takes between 5 to 15 minutes for over 50 materials if you know what you're doing. If you're going to farm legendary animals though, it's best to target the ones that have few clues and can be completed quickly, even though they don't reward the highest amount of materials. One of my favorites is the Banded Gator, which only takes 2 to 3 minutes per run, and it gives you 40.63 materials for the pelt. Killing a legendary animal will make Harriet angry at you, and she will spray you with some kind of weird hallucinogenic if you visit her right after skinning the animal, which is always a funny sight. However, you just have to wait the 5-minute cooldown and she'll be friends with you once again, and you can start doing missions. Now, apart from making your life as a trader much easier, the Naturalist role also has a few interesting perks. In my opinion, the Wilderness Camp fast travel is the best one. First, you'll need the Wilderness Camp, which unlocks at Naturalist rank 5. Then you'll have to buy the Wilderness Camp fast travel pamphlet from the fence, which will cost you $1,280, but trust me, it's well worth it, and it's one of the most single important purchases you can make to improve your quality of life in Red Dead Online. Because now, you don't need to be in your main camp in order to fast travel or visit a fast travel post. You can literally do it from anywhere as long as you're able to set up that Wilderness Camp. Mercy Kill is another benefit of having the Naturalist role. This is an ability that unlocks at rank 6, and it lets you kill a fatally wounded animal without compromising the quality of the pelt. Before this ability was introduced, players would often let the animal bleed out if they wanted a perfect pelt. Not only was that time consuming, but it also reduced your honor. The Animal Attraction perk as part of the Naturalist role also boosts your chances of running into legendary animals during the free roam. And during sighting missions, with the Animal Focus perk, you can reduce the search radius for legendary animals, which should help you gather more materials in less time. There are other little benefits too, like the Tonic Satchel upgrade, which lets you carry more tonics in your satchel, and this is definitely worth having if you're someone who likes to spam tonics during gunfights. Now let's talk about the Trader role, in which I consider to be an upgrade over the Naturalist in every single way. Not only does it have more money-making potential, but the Trader is more appealing from a gameplay perspective as you get to stalk and hunt animals instead of sedating them. The way Trader works is you gather animal carcasses and pelts for Crips, who will then turn them into sellable goods that you can load onto a wagon. And once you hit rank 10 in the Trader role, you unlock the large delivery wagon, which can carry up to 100 goods either for local or long-distance sales and deliveries. You get more money from long-distance sell missions, but they're also a little bit more risky, as there's a chance another player will either attack your wagon and destroy it, or kill you and steal your goods for themselves. The missions will also take a little bit longer as well, but it is worth the time. Trader also has some pretty solid unlocks too, like the Camp Stew Pot, which you can use to craft superior quality stew that gives you gold cores for 3 in-game days. Then there's the Cladruber horse as a part of this role. It's exclusive to the Trader role, and it is basically the 4-legged equivalent of a tank with how much health and stamina it has. You also get the Awareness skill at rank 7, which lets you identify enemy Trader wagons from a longer distance, and this is perfect for PvP enthusiasts as you can set up the perfect ambush. Personally, I'm not a fan of sabotaging other people's Trader deliveries, but I can acknowledge that it's quite fun if you're a newer player and you want to try it out, at least for the first few wagon raids. After that, once you have loads of money, it is a waste of time and only serves to annoy other players. With all the good stuff out of the way, let's talk about the not so fun stuff. Trader's primary downside is that you need to spend an exorbitant amount of time hunting down animals to gather the necessary amount of materials. 2 materials translates into 1 good, so that means you'll need 200 materials if you want to get the most amount of money, which is $500 for a local sell mission and $625 for a long distance sell mission. And this is where that Naturalist role comes in. If you have the Naturalist role, you can cut the amount of time needed to farm animals down by half or more, and instead of farming 15 panthers or 30 white-tailed deer carcasses, you can simply kill 4 to 5 legendary animals and get a full 100 goods ready to sell. 1 banded gator, 1 Anami elk, 1 Peta bison, and 1 golden spirit bear is all you need to earn $625. Just those 4 legendary animals alone provide over 201 materials, highlighting the fact that Naturalist is a must-have alongside the Trader if you want to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time. But not everyone is interested in grinding animal pelts to earn money. Some like a more relaxed approach, and for that reason, Moonshiner is number 3 on my list, ahead of Trader. As the name indicates, you can create and sell moonshine in this role, and the best part about the Moonshiner role is the fact that it has 5 rather decent story missions, unlike any other role in the game. If you're someone who's interested in the narrative aspect of Red Dead Online, and were left unsatisfied after the extremely short main campaign, you might want to purchase the Moonshiner role. It's also worth noting that this is the only way of owning a property in the entire game. You can even spend money and upgrade your Moonshine Shack with a bar expansion and add a band that plays alongside you. Yeah, it's all cosmetic, but what else are you going to spend your money on? I feel that the upgrades are totally worth it for the immersion and the character and the value they add to your Moonshine Shack. Getting drunk and hanging out in the bar with your friends will never get old, no matter how long you play the game. Not only is Moonshiner a near 100% passive source of income, but it also requires far less of a time investment than Trader. You can resupply right at the Moonshine Shack, and the only labor-intensive activity with this role is driving your Moonshine wagon to a delivery location. I recommend the Bayou spot for your Moonshine Shack, as it's close to Saint Denis and all the delivery locations. The nearby area also has smooth trails and good terrain, so you don't break any bottles during your transportation during your sell missions. Plus, you also get a whole bunch of collectibles that spawn around the shack, which are awesome for doing your collector role. Speaking of which, Collector is the number 2 role on my list. It is a favorite among the Red Dead community for its ability to make insane amounts of cash in a really short amount of time, and despite the nerfs to diggable item spawns, you'll be hard pressed to find another role in this game that's even close to Collector in terms of profitability. With Trader or Moonshiner, you can make around $400 to $600 in profit over the course of a couple hours, but with Collector, you can easily make over $1,000 in the same amount of time, and that's on the lower end of things. It isn't unheard of for players to make several $1,000s a day from Collector missions. Just use the incredible Gene Ropke interactive map and focus on collecting sets of items. Tarot cards, bird eggs, alcohol bottles, wildflowers, and more are what you should be looking for. Diggable items like fossils, lost jewelry sets, and coins provide a higher reward, but their spawns have become randomized now, and you can never be sure of where you'll find the next item in the set. That's why focusing on non-diggable items, in my opinion, for the collector role is the most efficient strategy these days. Collector doesn't have a whole lot else to offer, apart from the insane amounts of money. It's probably the most grindy role in the entire game, as you spend your entire gameplay session running from one spot of the map to another. Hopefully, you've got 2 or 3 routes memorized for efficiency. Otherwise, you're definitely gonna bore yourself just shambling between locations, collecting the same stuff over and over again. For beginners though, Collector is the best role alongside the Bounty Hunter, but for veterans of the game like me, and probably you as well, it can honestly get a bit boring at times. And so it's definitely a good thing that the role gives you so much money, otherwise there wouldn't be much of a reason to play it in my opinion. Unlockable items like the shovel as well as the metal detector are completely worthless outside of collecting itself. In fact, the only unlockable item in the collector role that's really worth anything is the collector saddlebag, which will let you store up to 7 outfits on your horse, which is pretty cool. And maybe the horse lantern, although that one can also be a liability when you're being hunted down by a sniper at night, since you're essentially putting a giant glowing beacon on yourself in the dark. And now, we finally arrived at the best role in the entire game, the Bounty Hunter. I'm sure that the overwhelming majority of you will agree with me when I say that nothing beats this role for sheer fun. It doesn't generate as much money as Collector, and it doesn't require constant player input, unlike Moonshiner, which is a more passive role. However, the core gameplay loop for the Bounty Hunter role is extremely engaging as you track down dangerous criminals, turn them into jail dead or alive. What makes the Bounty Hunter unique is that you're rewarded in both gold and cash for completing missions. The more time you take, the higher the reward, but the payout doesn't necessarily increase linearly. You get the optimal payout for the amount of time you spend around the 12 to 13 minute mark, which is also how long it takes for most bounty missions if you play at a normal pace. Apart from the unique reward structure, the Bounty Hunter role also has some pretty cool unlockable items as you progress through the ranks here. Perhaps the most important of all of them is the reinforced lasso. If you're caught by one of these, you can't break out your knife and cut yourself free. Then there's the bounty wagon, which lets you secure multiple bounty targets at the same time. And once you get the prestigious Bounty Hunter license for an additional 15 gold bar purchase, it becomes the most content-rich role in the entire game and comes with 13 infamous bounties. Each of these infamous bounties is divided into 3 stages with unique story content in each stage for a total of 39 missions. Sometimes you'll have to deal with multiple targets in the same mission, which makes matters a lot more exciting compared to just going after regular bounties where there may be only one target to go after for that mission. And there you have it. Every role in Red Dead Online, ranked from worst to best. If you're new to the game, the first role you should unlock is the Bounty Hunter in my opinion. Not only is it the most fun, but it also helps you farm gold for your next role unlock. For your second role, I recommend Collector, as it provides an insane amount of cash. Third, you should get the Moonshiner for passive income. And finally, you can get the Trader and the Naturalist. Oh, and here's a tip here. Normally, you can't unlock Moonshiner without doing at least one trader delivery, but there is a way to bypass this. Just open up the main menu, go to the progress section, and select roles. From here, you'll be able to unlock the Moonshine role by paying a fee of 5 gold bars. Then you can purchase your Moonshine shack at the location of your choice and get started with your Moonshine production. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments which role is your favorite in this game and why. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next Red Dead Online video. Adios, amigos.